irrevocably constant, omni-existent, time-proof. These are just some of the few words that best describe the only thing on Earth, or probably in the whole universe, that never ceases to exist. Change. It is considerably undeniable that change is something that has already been there since time knew it. Time after time, its impact has been becoming an immortal issue since humans started to realize its existence. If you all look at the dictionary, change is a word with many different meanings. Our focus is obviously not on that change that is given after you've paid an excessive amount of money. It's about that change which happens over time. That change in which I'm certain with confidence that no one can cite an example of which is not affected by it. Weather change, nature change, time change, and most of all, we people change. Obviously, change is the reason why there is an end to everything. But it becomes too overboard sometimes that we people are the ultimate ones affected. One remarkable issue that changes in line with is the ever-continuing problem with the nature. An example is the global warming, the increase of the worldwide average temperature known to have been caused by the greenhouse effect. This could be a usual event if not because of the speed of its occurrence. Greenhouse effect is caused by the absorption of some gases in the Earth's atmosphere. The number one gas to blame in this effect is the ones humans release for every breath, the carbon dioxide. If only there were more trees existing in the world, this change could not have threatened us with each day that passed. But population change, the demands of people, is also assumed to change. More people, more needs. More trees cut, more carbon dioxide released. Even if the comeback of this change is not that bad for now, the future is assumed to suffer if there is no other change done. People are very vulnerable to change. Whenever something changes, they'll directly cast their reactions to it. Now, in line with the economy, change is a very influential factor. Whatever the form may be, the ultimate ones to be affected are the humans. When the price of the basic needs increase, the people are sure to protest. When there is a new law that is unfavorable to dominant of them, they will also protest. If they succeed, then they will have what they wanted. But if they fail, then they will have to adapt. Whatever we people do to try stop threatening change, there comes a time when it becomes already impossible to reject. Try to make comparison between the prices now and before. I'm sure we could all see the difference. If only each one of us is dedicated enough in preserving the resources of the world, if only each of us is dedicated in uniting our minds, and if only each of us would help in every people, then no one will suffer from thirst, hunger, and social degradation. Change does not directly mean something like it's good or bad. If I'm to define it, it is purely just the effect of the cycling events. What started change must have also started from a change. If our happiness is not constant due to change, then our misery is otherwise not constant either. Change, therefore, is a fundamental thing in the universe that lasts till another change comes. That's why we, people, should know when to fight it and when to fight for it. Thank you.
Am I right if I say most of us want changes nowadays? Why is change very important? And what is the change in particular aspect? Ladies and gentlemen, these are just a few questions that most of us want an answer. People long for change because they want to start new, particularly for the labor sector, for example, to raise their standard of living. For the youth sector, to enjoy a more quality education, to have freedom in everything they need. And for the women in the community, to attain gender equality. For the masses, to eradicate poverty. And for an ordinary citizen, to have a peaceful living. As a youth, I want to see myself way ahead as a successful career individual with much higher hope to change not only my life, but others as well. After all, we are destined to live for others too. God created us for others' existence. God Himself wanted us to live happily with others. We must also know how to care for others, and that makes our life worth and meaningful. As a social being, it has been a fact that no man is an island. I myself have been longing for a change, for a better life, and I believe it must start from me. Change is not only a word that will just multiply and happens in an instant, without any driving force from within ourselves. No matter how we cry out loud to eradicate poverty, social unrest, and political turmoil, if we have the wrong motives, change is impossible. Yes, it's hard to change if we are resistant to it. But if we are determined to foster it, we must also alter our principles, our ideals, ourselves. We can make and unmake men by trying to be an example to them, and that will eventually create a peaceful and better Philippines, if not a better world. Change is constant. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. But no matter what change may bring, it's up for us on how to deal with it. If we assume that there's no hope, we guarantee that there will be no hope. If we assume that there's an instinct for freedom, that there are opportunities to change the things, there is a chance we may contribute to make a better world. The decision is in our hands. We can become a new and better Filipino.
An athletic activity. An athletic activity requiring skills and physical power. An athletic activity requiring skills and physical power and a competitive nature. An art of sound in time that expresses ideas and emotion in significant forms through the elements of rhythm, melody, harmony, and color. A process of time, a process of imparting and acquiring general knowledge, developing
Thank you so much, orators, for that very nice pieces. So, partner, who do you think will be entitled as the best orator?
For me, it's very difficult to choose because all of them are deserving and qualified to be the best orator.
I agree with you, but they are all deserving, but only one will be entitled as the best orator, right?
Moving on, we will have a representation. This group won last midterm as the best Just Chant presenter. So help me welcome Adrian and Friends group.
There was once a man with a flute who could play, who could play, who could play.
wide, but never one saw. Oompa, 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 pa. Oompa, 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 pa.
Oompa, 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 pa. Oompa, 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 pa. Oompa, 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 pa. Oompa, 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 pa. And while they walk, there's a chance to go. They meet a tall, tall man with a big bass drum, who said,
"There's no use of my playing of my drum, for I can make a penny with my boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom.
boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom.
And how about me?
Said a man passing by.
I play the cymbals, but I really don't know when from spring to fall and from fall to spring. For I can make a penny with my zing, zing, zing. Zing, zing, zing.
Zing, 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 zing. Zing, 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 zing. Zing, 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 zing. Zing, 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 zing. The four joined forces that very same day, and people came from everywhere just to hear them play. They warm up first, they are.
Boom, oompa.
Zing, zing.
And they work together and their music filled the room. Toot-a-doo, ta-doo, ta-doo, ta-doo. Oompa, 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 pa. Zing, 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 zing. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Toot-a-doo, ta-doo, ta-doo, ta-doo. Oompa, 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 pa. Zing, 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 zing. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom.
Presentation.
So now let's move on to our declamation pieces, but first let me read the guidelines for declamation pieces. Here's the guidelines for declamation. First, the declamation piece must be original. Second, the delivery must not be less than 3 minutes and not more than 5 minutes. A bell will be rung once the contestant has already used 4 minutes of the time allotted. This means he or she is remaining 1 minute to finish the speech. At the end of 5 minutes, the bell will ring twice. Speakers whose delivery will be less than 3 minutes and more than 5 minutes will be given 1 point deduction for every 30 seconds. Here's the criteria for declamation. Content, 30%. Voice variation, 30%. Facial expression, the gestures, 30%. Stage presence, 10%, a total of 100%. Let's acknowledge the presence of our declaimers. Balaba, Villa Gonzalo, Gabizan, Almonte, Brillian, Silva, and Amodia.